Greetings, everyone. Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. We got a bunch of things to get into, but I'm going to try to keep it pretty to what we want to talk about for the first half hour, no matter what. So let me say greetings, Tina. Welcome. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Tommy. Greetings, everybody. I'm Tina Barrett here from Southampton in the UK, broadcasting to Tommy Hawksblood in Hawaii. And tonight on Encounters, we are dealing with aliens, the government, and trolls. So over to Tommy.
All right, people. You know, I'm on top of it. I'm online at least 12, 14 hours day and night. I listen to all these people speaking and everything else. But the biggest thing that happened in the past 2 days, Snowden came out with a video. It's an interview, but they didn't show Snowden, but he's saying, and this is what Snowden just put out, all the stuff that's going on is the government, all right, doing abductions and everything else. And I said, what in the world does he know about anything? And it went on, and he was going about the government and this, that, and but he has no clue. I mean, I said, I wish he could come on my show or just listen to it. Listen to real things that are happening, not like government. Now, the other thing, Stephen Greer is always putting horrible, ridiculous things out. But even on Richard Dolan, the people in there are saying he's fake. So people are starting to listen to what he's saying and know that he's lying. And 3 people said, well, we caught him in a bunch of lies already. All right, which is a good thing for the UFO world because he's on top of Congress. And, what Snowden said about spirits and everything else, Congress, 2 people in Congress during that convention said maybe they're entities or demons. And I guess there were 2 Christians talking out, but they don't want to admit anything about aliens. And they probably won't anytime soon. But me personally, I have been dealing with the top people in the UFO world that are all taken out right now. My ex-UFO magic partner, who I work with, I was with him from 1996 to 2002, no matter what anybody says. We had a couple fights in between that, but he's attacking me now. But he's claiming to be an angel. Not an angel, but guess what? One of Jesus's disciples. Really? And I said, if that was even possible, the world would be an incredible place right now, but it's not happening. And if he is, he wouldn't be attacking people. Jesus never went on the attack, always was, never allowed anybody to try to defend him even as well, even when they took him away. And the teachings have nothing to do. Does he even know the Lord's Prayer? I bet he doesn't. I bet he couldn't even recite it. And if he could, he should realize what it says. But outside of that, all our pictures, he clarified that if I try to use any of them, he will take me to court. People, we had hundreds and hundreds of pictures we released publicly during that time frame. Nobody's asked or begged, or except when he started blowing smoke and creating images. People said that's fake. Because he said he took a picture of Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, Jesus, and all these pictures he was taking, all right, blowing smoke and taking pictures of the clouds and the smoke. But in the interim, we did shoot many incredible pictures of UFOs and entities and creatures. But outside of that, right now, even Ancient Aliens is starting to show a lot more UFO videos. All right. I mean, people talk about who I know, but I knew one person, John Edmond. He had a picture of that triangle ship that the Phoenix Light the next morning, well, that morning, coming over his house over the mountains. But he lived right next to an alien base. I brought Kerry Cassidy out there, and she's a witness because she filmed the ship right over his house that day. We filmed aliens out there during the week. So, yeah, but people don't want to admit anything. I don't know if you know Bigelow. He offered to buy his property, the same person that owned the Skinwalker Ranch. But since he knew he was so big and famous, he told him an incredible number of what he wanted for the property, and Bigelow just walked away. But people, I deal with real people, and I'm not a liar. I'm 71. All right, maybe exact dates and stuff. I am not that. I don't lock down dates. I am bad with numbers and names. But I don't lie, all right? And everything that we've been involved, Tina and I, is 100% to the T of what we believe and know as fact. Her book is out. Everybody that wants to know anything about abduction, you need to read it. It's not a complicated, long book to read. It's not like 500 pages or nothing like that. but it's important. Show them the book. It's big and wide, which is kind of different. It's a big book, but it's incredible to read if you want to understand what abduction is. All right. Now, today, we need to focus on what's happening in the UFO world today. Oh, just 2 days ago, the biggest weird event happened in Hawaii, and they're changing it. They actually put a story up of a girl falling off the cliffs into the water, which supposedly happened. They had 2 rescue helicopters out there, but right before that, at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 giant army planes flew over us, and they're not saying a word about that. All right, but the day before, I filmed the UFO for 4 minutes. The day after, the following day, I filmed like 12 ships in about 10 minutes. So there's a lot going on. Something I think could be Musk, because it was a chain of lights going across the sky, and that could be Musk things. Who knows what he's doing right now? He's bragging about sending all these ships up and everything else. But Tina, give us the latest of what's happening in England real fast, because people don't know.
So, thanks, Tommy. So, what people don't know is that we're having massive problems the last 3 or 4 days with internet, I think, just across the country. Massive roadworks everywhere. Online banking systems has just been announced that in December we apparently hit recession. So, are we in recession? The government's not doing anything. There's complete news blackout of what's going on around the world in the UK. You only get like world weather and what's going on. We hardly hear about the Ukraine anymore, and it's all about Israel at the moment. Apart from that, and like headlines about the royal family and the king not being well and the Princess of Wales not being well, nothing. There's been a complete news blackout or blanket that seems to be suffocating us more and more every day. There is you can't find decent news, you can't find world news, what's going on in other countries. And things that should be hitting the headlines aren't. There's a thing like on the internet news about a fireball in the sky over Lincolnshire, and there was another comment and another article about England's and the northern hemisphere of our world we live in. So that's something that should have been headlines. Has been affected by a passing comet. A comet has come too close to the Earth. We're due another one in the next couple of days, I believe. I'm not sure. I know we get them all the time, but these were a huge size. That's affected the jet stream and the heating of our planet, which is affecting the weather chain. Now, that's not global warming, people. Come on, wake up. So why is that? It's not really global warming. It's this comet that's past our planet. So there's lots of things that should be making the headlines and everyday headlines that aren't. I mean, there's only 9 months now until the elections in America. We're hearing nothing about that. We're hearing nothing across the UK, only about maybe upcoming. I only know there's upcoming elections because I've had bits of paper through the door. They're not telling the public anything significant. They're not telling us about changes. We keep hearing about migration. They're not telling us about UFOs. They're not telling us about sightings. There was a cruise missile failure today or yesterday. That was on our news, but that's it. Otherwise, it's been local claptrap. So we're being blocked from knowing anything, knowing any decent news. There's no good reporting going on. There's no world news being reported in the UK. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. Before you could turn the telly on and the news was on every channel. Now you're hard pushed to find the telly and find news on any channel. So lots of questions going on. There is a few things coming up that I have seen on YouTube. YouTube seems to be more up to date than the TV. So a few things. So I believe Mr. David Grush, who gave evidence, he was an ex-military personnel last year, and I believe it's going to be the 12th or 14th of March, is it? I'm not quite sure on this. I'm not sure. Is it the Attorney General or something to do along that lines? with the Navy is being questioned about David Grush's complaint about UFOs and things like that, and they want to know what action the Attorney General has taken and what he did to look into it. So that obviously we're not going to be privy to that, I should imagine, but that is also going on. And also another thing with Jeremy Corbell, he does a lot of like news commentaries with other reporters and top-notch stuff. He does some good reporting. He said it's coming to the point where if what David Grush said is true, and it is, that then leads to the next point. The next can of worms they're looking at is, well, they know they're here. They know they're being made, which has been mine and Tommy's thing all along. There's something flying those ships. We know they're real. Well, I've been on them, so we know that they're real. It's just origin intent which is what the government, to be fair, has said before. But if he's saying it is true, the next step is, what are you going to say to all the general public, people that have been abducted? The next question after that is abduction. So the biggest thing by the end of this year will be they'll be wanting to know everybody's abduction stories, because the next thing is, well, if it's origin intent and the public, he's saying what's right. The UFOs are coming here. They are going through like the atmosphere, stratosphere, through different mediums, through water, through volcanoes. Look at Skinwalker Ranch, they go through the earth there. So they do go through different mediums, which leads to the next question, abduction. And if what the human beings are saying are true about abductions and their accounts, which is obviously overwhelming evidence, then that's a whole new can of worms. And hopefully we're looking at that towards this year. So mine and Tommy's podcast will be picking up, and we get great depth in that this year. But like I said, with internet glitches, it does look like our video has been glitching the whole time. I think that is my end. But no news on anything, no good reporting on any standards is being done, Tommy.
Tina, okay, listen to this, people. I don't like David Wilcock, sorry. But he just came out 2 weeks ago saying he actually found out that aliens are eating humans. I was surprised for him to say that, because he's like out there left field and teaching what he wants to teach about this, that, and the other thing. But he came out and said that. I mean, when he first came out, he said he was God, like some people do. But reality is they do. And when even that hits the public and they find out the government cannot stop it. People that I know in Vietnam talked about ships. I mean, people in World War II, and now they're trying to say, like, what's that? Fireballs and everything that the Army saw. What's the thing they saw on the planes? Are not UFOs. Oh, what are they? Phenomena? Strange phenomena, right? But people, if you watch the news, don't believe everything you hear. Probably don't believe anything you hear. Because, they can't admit to that. And everybody's kind of trying to prove that aliens are good, which is kind of really ridiculous. I've been in this all my life, since I was 6 years old, people. And it wasn't like a new thing to me. I worked with abductee women for a couple of years that lost their children, like what's going on with Tina. People, she's the #1 speaker out there as far as abductions goes, because Travis Walton is limited. I mean, all these stories of the people that come out, even Whitney Schreiber, his story is lame. But Tina had more proof. Government's blocking half of her truth. See, UFO people don't go after the things that are factual. John Ford's in the nut house, locked away, shot the best video of a UFO crash ever, better than anybody else on this planet. And they got him in the nut house since 1996. They won't release him, and they won't take him out because he had 4 copies sent around the world. If he dies, they get released. He should have released him right away. He wouldn't be in the nut house. So, but he didn't. And they covered that whole scenario up. But I'm not going to get into that whole story because it brings back the person that's attacking me, which I don't want to get involved with right now. People, I keep this show open for the truth and for real questions. If you have questions, if you can't get it on this show, text me, please. And people condemn who I am, say I'm demon, this and that. The only thing I'm responsible to is God itself, not any other person, not the president, not the vice president, not Putin or anybody else. I will die in my truth, and I live in my truth. No matter what people say, I know Tina's affected because her whole life she had attacks and everything else. Nobody helped her. God, spirit, angels, the government, medical field, nobody helped her. But Tina, I know you can't stay here a long time. Two things. I want you to bring out your Geiger counter, but two, I want you to give a couple of the important things that really happened to you. All right, Tina? I want you to actually say what happened. I'll let you put a couple things out there for people that are listening that might not know you or know anything about you.
Yeah, sure. So the main thing you got to realise is about any abductees, like Tommy will say, is why is the crux of it is why did you come forward? Is it a one-off? And your story, your account is so unbelievable, but people ask for help because I've never dealt with unbelievable situation. Things happen to everyday people all the time, but they're not reported. It's only seen as if that you're famous or is noteworthy enough to hit the news, and you're lucky to get the break that people hear it. But this isn't just about your story or you want to be famous or you wrote a book or anything like that. It's about people should know what is happening to human beings, our own brothers and sisters, our mankind, us as humans. They should know we're being visited by other beings from a different, different world or different parts of our world that we've never seen, maybe nearer our core. But they should know what is going on. And knowing that our government has lied, I can understand to a point where they've kept things, technology to themselves. That's fair enough. But the point I'm coming from is I came out because I needed help. Like Tommy said, nobody helped me. These things come in unimpeded into our airspace without notification. They come under the guise of night. So what does that tell you? That is not good intentions. They don't knock your door. They invade your home. They subdue you and take your children. I was a child, baby when they took me. So who protected me? Well, the Air Force didn't protect me. The government didn't protect me. The soldiers didn't protect me. The police didn't protect me. NASA didn't protect me. No one protected me. And today there is still no help. There's still no recourse. Abductees don't have recourse. So why would you lie? You've got nothing to gain, and you certainly don't have nothing to lose. People just need to know. They need to wake up. This is happening. It's happening to us every day. People are losing their lives. People are going missing. So one of the things that people say, oh, these beings are good. People that actually say they want to be abducted really rub me up the wrong way. You need a psychiatric evaluation, or you probably have been abducted, you just don't remember it. I've seen hundreds of people up there. It's not all bright and fairy lights and things like that. I don't know where people get those accounts from. And the side effects and long-term life effects of being abducted are absolutely horrific. Oh, hello, beautiful. Are absolutely horrific, as Tommy will tell you. So when you're a child and you don't know what's going on, and you've got these little beings in your room that are taking you, or you wake up and you cannot move, and these beings are doing stuff inside your body. They cut your body open, they're inside your body, testing you, examining you, torturing you, basically against your will, against your parents' permission. I'm sure your parents wouldn't agree to something or someone or an unknown force coming into your home, abducting you and torturing you, and then putting you back, maybe making you infertile, stealing your eggs, stealing your sperm, taking plasma, taking body, taking samples from you, making other human beings without your consent. And that's just something you grapple with when you're older. You can't even comprehend that as a child or teenager or growing up. That takes years of being taken to understand what goes on physically, mentally, long-term effects, and the long-term physical effects to your body. As you get older, things just get worse and they get harder and they get more and painful. So there is no help. Again, you don't get compensation, you don't get extra medical care, you don't get time off work. It's you're traumatized in every single way. That the military get PTSD, well, they get compensation for that, they get time off work for that, they get retired for that, they get medical help for that, they're believed for that. But when you just say, hold on, I didn't have a uniform when that happened to me, no, that's not true. There's no force out there. There's no, you're making it up. That's absolute rubbish. I've seen people up there. This has happened to me. It's happened to other abductees. So That's where I come from, and it's for me. It's just not been. I can 100% say not a fully positive story. I mean, if these beings are all light and they are here to help us, again, why come under the guise of night? That should be the biggest question. If you're an invading force going to break into your home, if we call people like that on Earth burglars, and if you come into your home to take someone to hurt them, you're murderers. Or your torturers. There's a name for people like that during World War II, World War One, so that's where I come from. Sorry, Tommy.
Could you just tell them just two little things, like what happened when they discovered when they were going inside your body with like your pelvic bone and things? Just tell them a couple things that
Yeah,
are
so the medical evidence, yeah. So medical evidence I have, if you go on to one of my lectures or have a look on one of my pages, I had a few things go wrong. I had to have a hysterectomy, and it was one of those told me it's going to be like a minor surgery, blah blah blah, a couple of holes in modern technology at the over. I was in there hours upon hours upon hours. I had a 3-leg cut, 267 stitches, 22 staples, and a drain. I had to have all my ovaries taken out. I had to have my womb taken out, and the cavity it sits in itself. They had to take a few other bits and pieces away. I had to have a drain in, and while they're in there, they're cutting out this black stuff they said that they'd never seen before. There was at least 2 or 3 surgeons doing this, and the surgeon at the time, Dr. Liebman, said she was taking handfuls of this stuff out of me. There's still stuff in there that they couldn't even get. She said they got what they could. And my pelvis was completely obliterated, not stuff stuck to it. My pelvis is completely obliterated it from right to left with thousands of needle marks, thousands of holes. So it looks like someone's been testing you. It looks like someone's hit you with a steak hammer over and over and over. On my pelvis, there's at least 1,000 needle marks. What does that tell you? And that is painful, believe me, at any time, whether you're having a period, where you're having a child, where you're asleep, where you're having sex, where you're walking about, where you're going to work, where you're doing shopping. When it rains and pain is a terrible thing. You have to live with it. There comes a point where you can't live with it anymore. And then that's that. And then I had problems with my chest and my shoulder and things like that. When something's not right. And I recently fell downstairs and snapped the bones in my foot because of an HRT, because I had to have a hysterectomy. That's another consequence of being abducted. And they did an X-ray and found out I had this screw implanted in the top of my foot, a microscopic screw that they can't even make and do on earth. You can see the actual little rivet screws on it. There's no way it got in there. There's no damage to the external skin, tissue, muscle, but it's in there. It's in my foot. You can see it, and I have the X-ray pictures for that. And then the same again with my chest. I had this thing. They went in chest X-ray, and they're like, "You've got 2 metal lumps on your ribs." The metal spheres attached to your ribs. I said, why are they different colours? They're both metal. One's just got membrane and tissue growing over it because it's been there a long time. So what are they attached with? What are they doing to me? They're showing up on X-rays. When I have a scan, it feels like all my blood bonds have burst out, millions of little pieces through my skin. That's what it feels like when I go into the have that. And then that's my shoulder. I had my arm, and then when they looked at my arm, the shoulder X-ray, my left shoulder, you can see a drilled in chip. It's actually inside the middle of the bone. How did it get there? There's no external marks. It's like a black triangle in the middle of my shoulder inside my bone. So that shows that, I've had to have surgery on my hand. I've had teeth fall out. I'm having problems with my jaw, so I'm having that looked at. I've got lumps in my eyes that they can't account for. I've had burns, radiation burns. I've had all kinds of manners of treatment. Lumps coming up in my legs swelling, huge lumps coming out of me, headaches, nosebleeds, ruptured eardrums. It's been absolutely horrendous. And then you've got the long-term life effects of that. I've got problems with my liver enzymes when you're abducted. All kinds of things go wrong. But once you have permanent internal damage, that never heals itself. That never goes away. It gets worse. It gets painful. That's something I've got to live with. Why have I got to live with something that someone else has done? I've not been had an apology from anybody. If these people and these beings want to make contact and they're all white, fairy, glowy light, they come and apologise? No. Have they apologised for stealing sperm and testing me without my consent? In doing drilling holes in my legs, burning holes in my legs when I was a child, drilling holes in my teeth, putting objects in my head. Where does it end? What compensation do I get for that? Who's protecting me? What's to stop them doing it again? I've been taken so many times. I'm just hope each time's the last, and that's all I can tell you. Yes.
I appreciate you going into that stuff. I know some of these people don't believe anything anyway, but I would like you to take out your Geiger counter, because this is something that's impossible, people. Radiation is a solid thing. All right, I got the same one that she has. I asked her to buy one, and she did.
This is the Geiger counter, and this is electrical magnetic radiation tester. So this is what we're testing today. This one. I've got one, and Tommy's got the identical one. This is my second one. The first one, I think I dropped a material in the sink or something. It was about £18-20 on Amazon. There's the back of it. Click it on the front. It takes batteries. You just turn it on like that. The top is there. It says a volts per meter. Excuse me, I'm a bit closer to my mic. There you go. Volts per meter is there, and the bottom one there, as you see, is micro testers. Now I'm holding it towards my screen. It's a smart screen computer, all in one. It doesn't give off electrical magnetic radiation, and it doesn't give off volts per meter. Tommy's does, because he has an older model. However, when this goes closer to me and certain parts of my head and neck, this is what happens. I'm just going to take my headphones off, people, so you don't think that's interfering. Here we go. So I'm going to move that out of the way.
Trying to get you to see how much it is when I turn it around. It's a 200, 180. It goes up and down.
So at the moment, it's not beeping. Normally, every week, this beeps saying hazardous. It's not beeping, but it's reading between 0.4 and 0.6. So it is reading something. Normally, it reads hazardous. Oh, hold on. If I get a bit closer, you might be able to see the reading. You can see it going up and down.
Put it under your arm. See if it's different.
So I've got nothing there. There's absolutely nothing. Oh, that went to 0.204. Don't know if you can see that going up and down.
See, now her radiation goes up differently between shows. All right. We don't got a trick Geiger counter.
No, that's 12 there. Normally it beeps saying dangerous radiation, but that's you can see it there.
Usually the red light's blinking and it's up at a dangerous level. But it goes up and down. Radiation can't do that, people. And I tell her over and over, because of what she's experiencing, everything people with radiation poisoning have. In the past 2 years, I've been doing a show with her for 3 years, but she's been going through all the symptoms of radiation poisoning. All right. She's still alive, and she's still pretty normal and healthy enough to do what she's doing. So I told her, and I tell her, they're keeping her alive because of one thing. She has a communication with her children on the ship, and the aliens don't know why or how she's doing it. And I really think that's why they keep playing with her. But she's still here, and I'm glad. But she's putting her story out there. And nobody, I got in touch with a couple of different scientists. They haven't gotten back to me. Nobody cares about the truth, ever. Why is that? Oh, I'm God. Well, do something. I'm this. Well, do something. Nobody does anything. Talk is cheap. A native elder said talk is talk until it adds up to something. And if it doesn't add up to anything, it's useless. Prophecy, people, is not anything important, because you're just telling things. And I'll just say this. Two of my good friends at the time, one's dying, both admitted that they prophesied 9/11. Neither one of them was there to stop people from going into the building during the major event. They didn't even believe their own prophecy or were willing to protect it or defend it. You know, if I prophesized that a building's going to blow up today, I'd be in front of it and telling people, don't go in. I'd put my life on the line, at least, for that.
Yeah.
But prophecy, there was only two major prophecies all through history. And if you don't know one of them, it was Noah. And the other one was Sodom and Gomorrah. They were both given warnings. An angel comes to give a warning. They don't come here to teach, like Muhammad said he worked with Gabriel. All these stories out there have nothing to do with what's happening and do not help us, period. If you're going to get a prophecy and not sorry, Tina.
I'm just going to say sorry about yesterday, guys. That's on me. I had a late night thing I had to attend at the doctor's, which is late here in England. Normally the appointments are during the day, but it took me on till a bit later in the evening. But that's why our show is on today instead of yesterday. So I apologise for that. Again, poor Tommy puts up with me in these things, but this Sunday, something special is going to happen. It's going to be the first meeting on the south coast of England. It's going to be called South Coast Encounters. You could come along and speak to us. It's this Sunday at the Basildon Community Centre on the Pylons Estate. I think it's off Chamberlain Road there, or just off Oak Road there. Come in. It's £5 from 11 o'clock. If you want to be a ufologist, if you want to be a talker, a lecturer, writer, a field agent, want to look at ghosts, abnormal things, or anything like that, please come along. It's going to be our first meeting and we're going to go through everything then. So be with us from day one. Please like, subscribe and share. We're on Facebook or South Coast Encounters. You can like me, T.A. Bird, on Facebook, or I'm Tina Bird. But this is my book. If you have Kindle Unlimited, guys, you get it for free. Read my story. I just want everyone to get the message out, what is happening. You can get it for free, so you don't have to pay nothing. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. There it is there. It's called The Bonded, The Truth About Alien Abduction by T.A. Bird. That's me. It has my field agent, my chief investigator, who's now doing something with Gary Hesseltine. He's still doing abductions, but with pilots and UFOs or UAPs. But so you can get the book form. It's less than a packet of cigarettes. It's £10. It's less than a packet of cigarettes here in the UK. You can buy it on Kindle or Kindle Unlimited. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. It is on Kindle, but you can also buy the book form. If you ever see me out, I'll do it. I'm having it rewritten because I do have dyslexia, but this is the original copy. It was bigger because I wanted to put pictures in it, but they wouldn't let me do it, which is why it came out this size. But this is it, The Bonded, The Truth About Alien Abduction, and that's exactly what it is, what it says on the tin. That's me, and yeah, get it, guys. You will know exactly everything to know about my account. I've tried to put it in order of things that have happened. If you're not sure, there's plenty of information. Watch the podcast, speak to Tommy, speak to me, come on the show, ask me or Tommy questions. Tommy's been abducted. I've just been taken from such a young age. And there are I'm not the only one. I've seen hundreds of people up there, so I know I'm not the only one. Please come forward, but watch out for next week, because after this Sunday, don't forget this Sunday in Southampton, in Basildon, at the Pylons Community Centre at 11 o'clock. Come in. It's £5 on the door. There's no other fees, nothing else. It's just £5 entry, literally to pay for it. Come in, meet the guys, come to the meeting, find out what it's about, and be part of something bigger. Hopefully in the future it will be a lot bigger. So we're all pushing in the same direction, which will be a good thing. But from me, Tina Barrett, here in Southampton, that is it for this week with Tommy Hawksblood from Hawaii. Guys, please ask us the questions. Come on the show. That's what this is about. It's about truth. Please ignore the trolls. Just keep going. Do your own research. Look into things. Listen to Tommy. Yes.
I can't let you keep saying that. I haven't been abducted. I had an alien come into my house, and my friend
experience. Experience.
So, I don't know, people. Well, you were never abducted. I know you weren't abducted.
Attempted abduction. There you go. But you've had an experience, not experience that you've had.
And I not my brother from being abducted. But yeah, exactly. Love you. We'll talk next week.
Take care.
Text me tonight or talk to if you can. But stay healthy if you can.
Yeah.
Till next time, Tina.
I'll speak to you. Please, guys, positive comments, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. And I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
All right, everybody. Tina Bird, great person, not a liar, a cheat, a storyteller, all those words. Somebody's attacking us. Please, if you got problems, deal with it yourself. They're usually to come out of the woodwork to attack me years later. People, why? You don't believe in spiritual people, I'm sure, because if you're attacking people, you're not spiritual. And to say you're of Jesus or God, really? Did Jesus ever attack anyone, ever? Do you know the Lord's Prayer? Read it. If you can't even say it, read it. All right, and then think about what it says. The Ten Commandments, they never said the word love. So, I mean, it's not pertaining to the word love. It's turning basically the word compassion. All right, and never mind. Read it if you don't know what it says or understand it. If you follow Jesus, it was one of the few things he gave to the people up on the mountain and everywhere else. A simple prayer that they should say to themselves and be aware of what's really going on in their life. Now, Catholics and Protestants, everybody translated a little bit different, but it's common sense if you read it. It's not like super fantastic words that you might not understand. But in the interim, people, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. I'm not a liar. I'm not a storyteller. Now, all the pictures that we shot together with this person that I'm friends or ex-friends with are locked down. And he has the key. And basically, he took it all off the internet. I mean, there's many people out there that still have pictures of it, and I know that for a fact, including the show called Strange Universe, which we did when we were together. They cut basically everything I said out, and they only allowed me for like 2 seconds in the beginning and the end, and his ex-girlfriend as well. But he shows a video of a ship going through the space, stopping and shooting out 3 ships and then shooting out again. Nobody ever said anything about that. One of the most important things that really happens from UFOs. And they're not government ships. They're not drones, sorry. But people, are you ready for the truth? Please, if you understand anything or want to understand it, listen to our show. Come on, ask questions. I'm writing letters. I'm on Richard Dolan's site still. I thought I got out of it. The Skinwalker Ranch, I'm still on it. I'm paying about $30 for that alone, and not one of them will get back to me, which is sad, except one of the most famous people out there in the UFO world right now. I harassed him for 6 months, telling him, well, get a pair of balls and come out and say the truth. And he actually said he'll come on our show. But he said, you're going to have to let me speak about what I want. I said, that's no problem, because he can't say certain things, and he knows that, and people know that. But people like Stephen Greer and other people that are really changing and destroying the whole UFO world, it's pretty bad. I mean, the whole court systems with Stephen Greer's whistleblowers and all the things that are happening, they can't come out and say they allow people to be abducted. Now, people that I know, most of them, 99% of them, are taken out already. And one famous name who lectured as well, Fred Bell. And he was an important person because he actually was friends with Billy Myers, brought Billy Myers to California for a couple of weeks, and Billy Myers wanted to go back right away. But there were ships over California when he was there. So, but again, even Billy Myers did stupid things to take away his credibility. Like saying this is a picture of the alien, and it was a girl from the Mickey Mouse Club. And then he built the little ship and took pictures of it. When the press came out there, Shirley MacLaine went out there to buy him out and couldn't. But, where is he now? You don't hear or see anything about him. But here in Hawaii, when I lived on Maui, groups of people follow his prayer thing and do ceremony with him, doing ayahuasca. And it's crazy, people. If you want the truth, you don't need to do drugs, period. You don't need to drink, smoke, or do any of those things to find it or escape from reality, because you're in it and you will always be in it until you leave. People, look, and I explained this a couple times. Like I said, Tina is not dealing with spiritual things because she doesn't believe any of it's real. If you went through what she went through, you probably wouldn't yourself. I mean, I didn't get taken on a ship. I was next to a ship. I was next to an alien and those kind of things. But I almost watched my brother get taken, and I jumped in front of the beam of light that was coming through the window, hit him in the crib. But again, people, I'm protected, people, and I know why. And people want to attack me all they want. That's their choice. If they have nothing else to do with their great mission on planet Earth, have to attack me. Does that sound like they have a great mission on planet Earth? I'm not Lucifer. Lucifer doesn't dwell here. Satan does, and nobody can take Satan out. Jesus was with Satan for a long time. And Satan tried to do everything to Jesus. It didn't work that way. But Jesus couldn't take Satan out either. Satan's put here for a reason, people. Nobody's going to take Satan out unless God decides to remove it. Which it probably won't. Not for a long period of time. How many lifetimes of people in reincarnation over and over and races have been here? But so has Satan. All right. When people say Lucifer, oh, I wanted to tell Tina that. Somebody's saying Lucifer's controlling abductions. I wanted them to hear that. It's mind-boggling. But the government knows what's going on. All right, completely. And they can't stop it. But it's about, people have no clue why people abduct people, because their race is dying. The gray race was almost dying out completely until they started cloning humans. The U.S. government did as well. They were cloning grays. And they still are, because when the nuclear wars and different things are going to happen, we will be in serious trouble. Does anybody care about the underground cities? Why they're there? Who's going to go in them? And why were they created in the first place, people? Nobody asks questions about that. Why? All right. You know, I've been in this a long time. I wanted to get in touch with, I'm not going to say it, but I wanted to bring him on our show. But he refuses to leave Mexico because the government attacks him every time he does. Jesse Ventura. All right. But all the cool people I know are gone. All right. But, you know, people don't want to face the facts. And people don't know who they deal with. They could be standing right next to a person, whether it's like Men in Black, MJ-12, and they have no clue. If a person doesn't come say, well, I'm an MJ person, they wouldn't know it. But like in Muhammad's case, when he supposedly met Gabriel, his brother said, you know who you're with? Gabriel. How would his brother know? His brother was a Gabriel? And funny, all the people in the UFO world, spiritual world, religious world, claim to work with Gabriel, Michael. Why is that? You know, like I said, there were 9 angels in the Bible that were written about in the New and Old Testament. But in Revelations, John talks about all the angels and what's happening. All the fake psychics that are here today. He prophesied everything. Nobody could put out a prophecy that he didn't already talk about. Even the 7th sign was based on his part of his teaching. Do you want the truth? Do you want more lies? Read the Bible and believe it. Very little truth is in it, if you even read it. I read it from cover to cover many times. I was a born-again Christian for 2 years. I went to church almost 5 or 6 days a week for 4 hours a night. I was going to become a preacher at that time and decided not to because of my person I was living with said, well, if you become a preacher, you can't do magic with me anymore. I'm talking about stage magic. And then I said, okay, I had to leave his house, but I had to leave their religion because they say you have to do everything in the name of Jesus, which is fine, but you have to actually say it. I said, look, I live under God, period. Jesus never, ever said he was God. All right. In the Bible, it's only one sentence in the whole Bible where it says, Jesus and God and I are one. All right. But a man wrote that. And he didn't understand what Jesus was even talking about when he said it. Now, Jesus gave teachings, people. Jesus didn't come here to say, oh, he's going to protect you. He's going to forgive you. You can't be forgiven, people. Not on this planet. Not by anybody. All right. Jesus, when he healed people, he said, you healed yourself. I didn't heal you. He didn't take credit for what he did either. He wasn't evil. He wasn't bad. He was the most spiritual person to walk this planet. But sadly, in religion, they condemned Mary Magdalene for a really long time. They only admitted that she wasn't the stories that they wrote about her because 100 years later, everything was, oh, she was a woman, so she was evil, she was bad. And all the words they put on top of her. Sorry, people. Whether you want the truth, this is the truth. I swear on God only. Jesus was with her and had a child. She had a daughter. Now, on top of that, when Jesus was killed, she was responsible for teaching the disciples. How could she teach the disciples if she didn't know what she was doing? You can't tell somebody about something and not be able to show them it. Teaching love, nobody can teach a person love. You can feel it and experience it, but you can't teach it. All right. Now, forgiveness and protection. People don't understand the word that Jesus used when he said protected. Soul is protected, and that's why it could be eternal. But Jesus said one thing: if you give your life to God, you'll have eternal life. If you try to hold on to it, you'll lose it. But what's happening in this world today? Most of the people want to live longer. I don't. But the big rich people working on medicines, $70,000 for a pill that's going to make you live another 40 years. Why? Why do you want to stay in hell? Nothing spiritual is happening on planet Earth, people. You can believe what you want. I go to church and I pray. Praying is useless. The way people pray. You can't change the world. You're not going to pray to save the starving children on the planet. You're not going to pray to stop a war. You may think you can. But the people that run the country, the people that control everything, who are they under? Who's helping them programmed ideas come out to this world? That's where the attention should be. Not on me. War's evil, abuse, and perversions in relationships. All that's a sexual sin, people. And if you want to read about sin, which people claim I'm a sinner, go to Revelations and read what John wrote about what are considered sins and what cannot be forgiven. Man's the one that wrote it. Jesus will forgive us for our sins. I mean, like the Catholics went to church every Friday and forgive their sins. A preacher is going to forgive his sins? I mean, a priest, sorry, wrong religion. Oh, everybody, I'm going to confession. I remember my friends, well, I got to go confess. I cursed this week. Really? But guess what? Read Revelations. Read where John says what sins can't be forgiven. It's in there, people. But people don't even read Revelation. It would take you a day to read it, if that long. Maybe 2 days if you're a slow reader like I am. But, you know, the truth is out there, people. And people don't want it. People want to believe something good's going to happen to planet Earth. It isn't. Are you watching the planet? Have you watched history? When Atlantis was destroyed, that was the last chance of the human race to become spiritual. Because reptilians and greys and everybody came down, reprogrammed man to be a killer, eat animals and things like that. And then women were always slaves after that. People, you want the truth? Please ask me. I'm not a liar. And now, where do I get my truth from? Good question, people, if you ever wanted to ask it. Directly from Jesus and God. And how? God doesn't talk to me. God doesn't talk to anybody in this world, people. Conversation with God. I challenged him many times. All these people claiming that. And all they can say, well, love's the answer. And no, that's not the answer. It never was. You know, love did not exist until 2,000 years ago. Jesus showed it. How do you think people knew what it meant? The way he reacted with Mary Magdalene. I mean, people in their families kept women as slaves. That's all they were to men. All through history. Doubt me? Check history. I'll go back. I'm aware of all my lifetimes to Atlantis, people. You don't have to believe that either. The problem is you need to find out all your past lives. Who you were, what you did, what you actually learned, or what you did not learn. Because we're still here. I chose to come back in this lifetime, but I will never come back to planet Earth. There is no reason to. People that think they can save the world, saying, well, I'm going to come back and save the world, or make a commitment. I'll always be here until I save the planet. Good luck. You'll be here forever. Jesus is not coming back to Earth. Mankind would only try to kill him again. His own disciples helped kill him, people. It's in the Bible if you want to read it. And when he died, when he was killed, his disciples were walking away. Mary Magdalene had to pull them all back together. Well, he said this and that. But he was dead. And they didn't understand that. If he didn't come back, which people said he didn't, all right, or he was never dead, they would have never understood what he was teaching. All right. Again, I was a female when Jesus was alive. Mary Magdalene was my closest friend. Challenge anybody on this planet about that. what we wore, what we dressed, where I lived, how I was with Mary Magdalene in her house when Jesus was there. All right. She lived in a temple. All right. She wasn't all the words that they put on. I'm not even going to say them. She was a high goddess. And they were allowed to do anything in that time frame if they wanted to. But a street woman wasn't allowed to do anything outside of what they were allowed to do. But people don't want history of the Bible. People don't want the history of Jesus. People don't want the history of anything. Because people don't believe in any of that anymore. They believe in the universe is God. And I'm becoming one with that. Good luck with that. See where it gets you when you die. See what happens in the end times of this planet. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And what are you going to do? Pray? Jesus, save me. Really? I would say I'm not going to go where Jesus is because I don't need to go there. He's a teacher in the inner worlds at a higher level. And you can't get there if you're not aware. You can't get past the astral plane until you pass the gods that are there. There are 3 gods there, people. This world has 3 realms which the government's playing in. Not the astral and mental planes. No, they're not. And anybody says they go past the 5th plane, they're not going to be here. They're already light. They don't need to come back to a world of negative energy, powerful, evil energy, whatever we're trying to give it. Loving energy is on this planet? No, it doesn't exist. All relationships are deteriorating. Why? People abusing their children. Almost every family does, one way or another. Nobody knows how to even protect their children from energy or negativity. Well, somebody wrote me letters. I don't know where they're coming from, if they're friends with the persons that are attacking me or not. But again, I directed them to a real exorcist in the United States who does that for a living. That's all he does. All right, his name's Jeffrey Seelman. He's on my show. I'll bring him on again. But he could do exorcisms over the phone and things like that, which I would never try. If I'm not next to a person, I'm not going to allow that energy or anything to disappear without sending or directing it somewhere. Like I did with the person that's attacking me. And he will never admit that either. People are afraid of the truth, afraid of being less than who they think they are. Being truthful is probably the best thing you can be on this planet. Because then you don't have to deal with karma. You don't have to deal with reincarnation. But being honest, being aware, look in the mirror, look into your eyes. Who are you? A victim of sexual abuse? Victim of child abuse? Victim of abuse? Most people are. Most people drink. Most people smoke. I don't. Never did. All people around me, and I'd say about 90% of people that have any kind of money drink or smoke. Smoking's kind of deteriorating, but they go into little pipes that smoke air. But again, what does it do to your mind? What does it do to your belief? And what is it really doing for you? Hiding from reality. I can go into the details, which people are afraid to talk about, or the truth. The lie, twist. Everybody's afraid of that. I'll tell you anything about my life if you want to know it. In my first book, I talk more about God and how to get to the inner worlds. But my second book, When Truth is Called Crazy, I'll tell you the truth about everything that happened in my life, including suicide. You name it. I've been there, I've done it, and I experienced it. Aliens are not good. None of them. I mean, oh, well, they said, look at the planet Earth. There's good and bad. No, they're not. There's no good people on planet Earth. Otherwise, we'd be changed. We'd be moving in the direction we should have before Atlantis was destroyed. Imagine a world of connected, compassionate people. Imagine that. Where would we be with everything? Our food wouldn't be poisoned at everything we eat. The air wouldn't be poisoned, and our water wouldn't be poisoned everywhere. But it is. And why is it? Rich people are controlled. Jesus said it 3 times in the Bible and many times outside of the Bible. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. I directed that directly to Oprah, directly to Musk, and all these so-called rich, famous people. I write Musk letters every day. He claims he wants to save the planet and help the world. I said, well, why don't you do it? Getting to Mars is not the answer. Making more spaceships is not the answer. Feed the homeless. Save the children that are starving. Work on strategies to stop child abuse and what they're doing to children around the world. But no, we're going to go to Mars. Really? You know, people like Oprah, she deals with Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle. Both of them cannot talk about God because neither one know anything about God. Neither one of them know anything about death. I remember when Oprah asked Deepak Eckhart Tolle, what happens at death? Well, my father died. That's all he could say about it. And Deepak Chopra is based off of a Hindu religion, which work with deities. But he doesn't even do that. All right. People, you know, I've been in this all my life. It's not a game. I mean, I wanted a normal life, but I was never given a chance to have one. But it would have never helped me get to where I am now. Where am I now? Ready to leave and not come back. That's all you have to retain. And to get to that point, you have to learn two things: past lives, how to leave your body, to and with whatever you're supposed to be working with. Most people have angels and guides ready to work with them. And I'm not talking about demons and entities. You can challenge anything you work with when you're out of your body. Anything other than God can be challenged and got taken away from you. But if God's or spiritual angels or the deities of God are there, guess what? Then you got to deal with it. But they will stand in front of you when you say, in the name of God, be gone. And they'll be looking at you and say, well, Lucifer can't even do that, but he's an angel. People, do you want the truth? Do you want to live in the stupid lies man created over 100,000 years in time? None of it's about a real God. I do shows all the time, and I tell a person, take out a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, put God is on one side and God isn't on the other. Oh, you can't say God is everything. That's the first thing I say. Put what it is and what it isn't. Nobody can put down what it isn't, and people will put down a lot of little things about what God is. And I guarantee everything they put down what God is not God. God is not the loving, passionate person that people want it to be. God is not the protector of people on planet Earth. God is not a male or female, or the goddess, and then women are trying to make it a girl. But God is not male or female, and neither are you. So when it attains awareness and it goes past the astral plane, let's go with the sexual male identity. All right? And you become more light. And take a flashlight, shine the light. What can that do to you or do? The sun affects us greatly. But how? What's it really doing for us? People, you want to be one with the universe? Fine. You want to be one with everything? That's your choice. We all one. No, we're not. You know, it's how you look at that. We're all one. We are an individual. And you can give that up anytime. Become one with the universal consciousness of this realm. Do you want to be one with all the rapists, murderers, killers, stealers, liars, cheats? You're one with all that too? If it was that, I say this many times, I'd say, God, just destroy me, take me out. But there wouldn't be one if I believed that. You'd have to be part of that. And you can be, if that's what you truly want. If you want God, learn to leave your body. Meet with your guides. We all have two, at least. And they were there. After long periods of time, they don't stay there waiting for you to say, oh, I want to find my angel, my guide, I want to learn. When Gabriel supposedly was in front of Muhammad, what did he tell him? I'm sure you don't even know. Read it. Go through some books and stuff. Find out what Muhammad was told by Gabriel. And it's not what Gabriel said. My life's on the line for that because it contradicts itself. Every 3 sentences, it contradicts the 1, 2 before it. How's that possible? Now, the Ten Commandments were written by Moses, okay. But Moses was not a good, loving, compassionate being. Women were still slaves. There's no word of love in the Ten Commandments, is there? When you read the 63 laws he created after aren't about that. It's about sex. It's about food. Has nothing to do with God, spirit, at all. He was the highest black magician to live on this planet by what he did. The difference between black magic and white magic, do you know what it is? Well, he wears white and he wears black. No. A white magician could wear black. A black magician could wear white. It has nothing to do with it. Like the Nordics. People believe they're Jesus because he wears a white robe, blue eyes, and he's tall. Jesus wasn't tall, considerably. I mean, super tall, like 8 foot, 7 foot. He didn't have blonde hair and didn't have blue eyes. And he wasn't white-skinned, people. You know, you could believe what you want. Christianity made a false image of Jesus and a false, ridiculous idea of what God is. If God wanted to save this planet, it would, people. That's simple. If it wanted us to be loving beings, it would make us that. But God, in its own compassion, allowed us to grow any way we want. That's called freedom. Even the government hates the idea of us having freedom. Why they killed all the native people? They said they were demons. They were red skin relating to devil, and they were allowed to kill them. They killed 50 million native people. Do you understand that? Our Constitution, George Washington and Jefferson were responsible for that. Jefferson talked about freedom, created the Patriotic Bill. Bush rearranged it after 9/11. People, do you understand anything? The last thing I want to say, because we're getting close to voting season, do you know what electoral votes mean? I don't need to tell you. Find out. Understand what the Constitution meant, was, and how it was created. Really. What the electorals were created for. I hope you find out, because it's horrible to believe that we're allowing that to be part of our voting system today. Mankind sold out. They want to be controlled. They want to be puppets for a government, for a world of dictatorship, rulership, whatever words you want. Trump said if he becomes president, he's going to be a dictator the first day. He actually said that. But again, he's not the one that's going to destroy the planet. He doesn't have the power to do that. Neither does Putin. But Putin told Trump to do a lot of things that Trump didn't do yet. Whether he will when he comes, if he becomes president again. But you know, all these massive killers and children killers. If you're going to become famous because you killed people, why don't you do something important? Take an evil person out, not poor children and women and things like that. Why? Because they're possessed. The Pope himself hired about 1,500 people a couple of years ago to do exorcisms. Because the Catholic Church is limited in what they can do. In the name of Jesus, be gone. Well, what if an alien doesn't care about Jesus? He's going to run away? That's why if you watch the original first movie on TV, The Exorcist, is a real story. It wasn't a girl, it was a boy. And 2 priests did die during that. All right. I'm not afraid of Lucifer because he's an angel. But I'm not afraid of Satan either because I am protected from that. People, you can talk all you want. You could spread stories, rearrange stories. But if you can't talk about God, you're useless. What does God want? Do you know why he put you here in the first place? Simple. To become spiritual. And people that are spiritual don't stay in hell. Why would you? Everything's negative. Everything's toxic. And you're talking about, well, this person's worse. Nobody's worse because nobody's making anything better. Not one spiritual thing was created in 100,000 years. After Atlantis went down, And there was an Atlantis, believe it or not, whether you want to. There were 9 races in Atlantis. 5 already left before it was destroyed. They already attained awareness that they didn't have to stay there. But the ones that were still there had psychic abilities. I mean, there's 32 abilities that you get when you go to Ascension people. And even these people like Richard Dolan doing a seminar and all these David Wilcock doing workshops on Ascension. Only 2 people in all the history I know after Atlantis was destroyed went to Ascension. Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Sorry, nobody else did. All right. You attain 32 psychic abilities, 100% able to use any one of them anytime. Not one person on this planet can do that. Now, I'm not going to say I'm anything, but I did work when I was a high priest, when I was young, with as many psychic abilities to learn them as I could. Seriously, I went through most of them, but 2 of them I couldn't do or attain. The only 2 I wanted. All right, I'm not going to say all that, but people, we're under attack every which way by our own conscience, by the people around us, because they don't know better either. But protection, spiritual protection in this reality is possible. When I was 20, I don't know exactly, 21, 22, I was working with children that were seeing demons in their room and doing all this. That I just gave them a simple technique and it went away. The same as I worked on this so-called spiritual person, and the entity that was in him, left that day. My friend who does exorcism does it constantly. He even says most of them aren't really possessed. You could believe you're possessed, act as you're possessed. The same as a good friend of mine that I did stage magic with became a vampire, married a girl, and they both became vampires. The coffin implanted fangs in their head and all that. You can do a lot of things here. Want to be male, be a female, want to be both, whatever. You can do a lot of things here. But problem is, it's only going to get worse. China, Japan have the ability and the right to clone animals and humans together. If you don't think something's happening with that, go back to the island off of Long Island, where they were working on that a long time ago. There was a creature found, 2. One was put all over the internet, but the other one wasn't because it was too close to a human. All right. What can I say? You want to believe the truth? You want to believe a lie? It's easy to believe a lie because it's usually making you feel good. And the truth will usually make you feel bad. And I'll tell you where I'm at. I was in a religion. I got thrown out, locked out around the world. So guess what? They had to be afraid of me. For what reason? But the truth is, if you walk in the truth, walk in the light, everything will attack you. Sure, good things will try to come to you, but every bad thing will try as well. You know the saying, you put a light on at nighttime outside, all the moths fly into it and burn themselves up. They're trying to get to the light. But guess what? They're not ready for it. So people ask, are animals spiritual? Well, they're spiritual. Dogs and cats have more ability to grow awareness into the word love. But again, do they reincarnate? And what do they reincarnate back as? I'm not going to talk about that right now. But there's answers to all these things. And it's not like you can go to Richard Dolan, Whitney Shriver, all the big UFO people and get any answers for that. They can't answer about the pyramids. Still 15 years of doing shows on the pyramids. And where are we with the pyramids today? Well, they're going to help us in the future. To do what? It didn't help any of the races that were here. And the little people killed the giants. And that's the book of Enoch, which was taken out of the Bible because they didn't want people to know that either. People, you're so brainwashed, so programmed by your parents, school, your friends. If you don't hang around with somebody with the truth, you're never going to get it unless you do it yourself. And when you do that, you can learn how to go inside yourself become aware of soul, and leave this body and leave the mind here. I know people claim this, that, and the other thing. I was empathic for 2 years. I begged spirit to take it away. Knowing what people think is disgusting. Walking down the street and feeling this horrible vibes and what they're thinking is horrible. And I couldn't stop it. But I did prove it to myself. Whatever you believe in, make sure you prove it to yourself. Believe you're going to reincarnate. Believe you're not going to reincarnate. Believe you're going to be whoever you want when you come back in the next lifetime. Try to prove that. Well, I'm going to come back as this. I'm going to come back that. Do famous people come back as slaves? You know, I was on the ESTA plane for time frame's different there. You could stay there for years and come back in the same time frame that you're here. But watching souls come and go. And the average time, and I'll tell you, it's 5 to 10 years for a person that just died, that goes there. Right, somebody put you could win the lottery. No, you could do more than that. If you were psychic and could read 1 minute into the future, right? And many psychics, oh, I can do that. I said, really? And you're still poor smoking cigarettes? You could go into a casino, put $1,000 down on a casino wheel and win. Put it down again on this casino wheel and win again. Take all the money from every casino in Vegas or whatever, Laughlin, or go up to New York, Long Island, wherever this casino, Connecticut, I meant. But you could walk away with all that money. If you could even do that. If you could read the future for 1 minute, you could stop the world, change it completely. But that's not happening, is it? Or I can see 10 years from now, 25 years now, like 2034. How far away is that? And the people that prophesize things, are they going to be here when their supposedly prophecy happens? Well, I know people hate the name of Sean David Morton because of what the government did to him. But in 2000, the year before 2000 happened, 9/11, happened in New York City in front of 400 people. He went into detail about everything that happened that day. Everything. But I challenged him years. I ended my friendship with him for a while, saying, how could you let it happen, knew it was going to happen, and did nothing about it? When Sodom and Gomorrah, he was told when the city was destroyed, don't look back. So he was leaving, and his wife said, no, I'm going to look around, and turned around. She was burnt up. She said turned to stone. But science proved that meteorites hit that place at that time frame. So she was probably burnt up by meteorites. But he listened, and then he had to have sex with his 2 daughters to produce his tribe again. So, you know, history and our belief systems are so twisted. Now, Noah, what if he didn't listen to the angel that told him what he should do? The world would be different. A prophecy is to change reality in a great way, if it's real. Saying that a plane's going to crash and it crashes next week, so what? You didn't do anything important. I mean, I could tell you when there's going to be a major earthquake, but I can't stop it. And I don't know exactly where it's going to be. But I prophesied like 6 of them within 3 months that there's going to be something to 7. And probably it's going to get a lot worse the next year. Just give me 1 split second and I will tell you. Let me get back to that real fast. What am I looking for? Earthquake chart. All right, the biggest ones right now, the Tonga, 5.4. Fuji Islands, 5.2. All right, 5.5 in New Guinea. Today, this morning. All right, now, years ago, where's my show? All right, sorry about that. So now, I've been following earthquake charts since 1900. Up until 5 years ago, there wasn't any averaging of high numbers in a day or a week. But now it's every single day. And we get a big one at least now about every 3 months. We had a big one here in Hawaii just last week, 6.2, the biggest ever in a long time. And the volcano is starting to shake. It could go up, but I feel it won't come down on top of me again where it was coming when it was happening a couple of years ago. We're in trouble, people. But do you want to find out what you should be doing? I mean, there's a famous guy. I'm not gonna say his name because I'm bad with names, but he has a class and he's always sold out, claiming this is going to be the last year he can do the prophecy, and he's a remote viewer and he says, well, this is what you got to do to survive when the world starts crashing. But it doesn't happen. But he makes a ton of money every year. But he goes, oh, this is the last time I'm going to give you the prophecy. You got to learn how to do remote viewing and find out where you need to be. Wherever you go, your karma's coming with you. Period. And people can't relate to karma. Right? Karma is what you created in all your lifetimes. And you do come into this lifetime because you're coming back. So you do have karma. All right? Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Now, I could tell you a bunch of things that are really important, but people don't care. Crib debts were basically because people's karma had to be paid, but not in the whole lifetime. All right? But again, people want to hear and make up stories, and make up beliefs, and make up ideas, not pertaining to the truth. But again, people, I'm done for today. I hope you got something out of it. Again, if you have a really important question of truth and you want to accept it or hear it, please text me, hawksblood1aol.com. I answer all my calls, emails, good, bad, or indifferent. I may not have people threatening to take me to court if I use pictures, if I do this, if I do that. I don't care. I won't do it because I don't want to deal with something stupid like that. And you know what I found out just this week? When a person copyrights a picture, it lasts 60 years after they're dead. Seriously. But when you have people say, well, I'll send you all my pictures when I die, and then they become your enemy, guess what? You never get to see those pictures again. Except I know who have most of the pictures around the United States as well. A lot of the pictures that he took and put out there and all that. But again, who cares? That was all in 1996 to 2000. The videos, the pictures that are going up right now are incredible. Incredible. The videos of ghosts and spirits are incredible. They can talk to ghosts now. And I've seen it happen. I know people that can. I'm not going to get into it, but I have a friend online in another country. She goes into this bar with cameras and they film all these weird things happening every day that she goes in there. And it's online. People, you want the truth? It's out there. But, because it's on TV, it has to be fake. If it's on the internet, it has to be fake. Oh, it's a fake UFO. Well, they created that image so that you never know the truth. I saw John Ford's video way back in 96, whatever. I'm bad with years. Sorry about that, people. Dates don't mean much to me, and names don't mean much to me. The truth is the only thing that matters, and it has nothing to do with either. So is what it is, and what stays, and what it becomes, and where it goes. All that's the only thing that matters. But we are in trouble. The earth is in trouble. Why do you think they created the underground cities? At least find out about that. How many there are. What Denver Airport really was. Behold the Pale Horse got into it. I went to Denver Airport. I took a picture of the floor that said U.S. New World Order. My computer was hacked a year later. I didn't even know it because I went to pull up that picture and it wasn't there. Everything was gone. All right. Nobody has that picture. Nobody. Anybody that knows anybody out there, please send a picture to me. But nobody has it. Even when he did Behold the Pale Horse, he didn't put the picture in it. Not that he was aware enough to do that, because right in the center of the capstone, which was where you buy your ticket, there was a triangle glass case. Had pictures of the presidents with trophies and everything. Right next to it in the floor in steel, it said U.S. Air Force New World Order. And I'm not going to go into why Denver Airport was built the way it was. But they did have the murals all over the walls at that time for a short period of time. The death of all the different religions, I should say tribes. All right, people. I hope you got something out of today. Please, if you ever want the truth, look into somebody's eyes and then learn a simple technique. It's called reading a aura. You can learn it in a short time if you want it. All right, people. Love and light. Till next time.